Rock has always been a world of rebellion, innovation, and unexpected alliances. But every once in a while, two forces collide so unexpectedly that it feels almost unreal. Artists from completely different worlds, styles, and spirits joining together for a single moment of magic. Let's take a look at 12 rock collaborations you won't believe actually happened. Number 1. Aerosmith and Run-D.M.C. Walk This Way, 1986.
She told me to walk this way, told this way.
In the mid-1980s, Aerosmith wasn't exactly riding high. Years of excess had dulled their edge, and their career was teetering on the brink. Meanwhile, a rising force from Queens, Run-D.M.C, was exploding onto the scene, redefining what hip-hop could be. Normally, these two worlds couldn't have been farther apart, but producer Rick Rubin saw something nobody else did. A chance to bridge an impossible gap. The collaboration was awkward at first. Aerosmith had never heard of Run-D.M.C, and Run-D.M.C weren't exactly fans of Aerosmith's long-haired, leather-clad aesthetic either. But once the first beats of Walk This Way started rolling, something electric happened. Steven Tyler's wild vocals tangled with Jam Master Jay's scratching turntables, and Joe Perry's riff became a weapon. When the song and its unforgettable video dropped, it didn't just revive Aerosmith's career. It cracked the mainstream wide open for rap, dragging it from underground clubs into the homes of suburban America. It was loud, sweaty, chaotic, and it changed popular music forever. Without this unlikely mashup, there's a good chance the entire landscape of modern music, from rap rock to nu metal, would have sounded very different. But let's talk about another collaboration that couldn't have been more different. Number 2. Lemmy Kilmister and the Nolan Sisters. Don't Do That, 1981. When fans think of Lemmy Kilmister, they think of blistering speed, deafening volume, and whiskey-soaked chaos. When fans think of the Nolan Sisters, they think of bubblegum harmonies, sparkling dresses, and family-friendly pop. So when these two collided for a single anti-drug anthem called Don't Do That, it felt surreal. Born from a charity project called the Anti-Heroin Project, the track was intended as a rallying cry against drug addiction, pulling together a lineup of unlikely British music stars. But even among that bizarre roster, Lemmy and the Nolans stood out like black leather at a Sunday church picnic. Lemmy growled his way through the song while the Nolan sisters sweetly cooed backup vocals, creating a dissonance so extreme it shocked fans. But hidden beneath the oddity was something strangely beautiful, a shared desire to send a message that transcended image, genre, or reputation. It remains one of the most surprising moments in rock history, not because it was a smash hit, but because it simply happened at all, from one unexpected pairing to another. Number 3. Judas Priest and Stock Aitken Waterman. You Are Everything. When Judas Priest decided to experiment outside their comfort zone, nobody expected them to head straight into the heart of mainstream pop. And yet, in one of the strangest footnotes of their career, the metal pioneers briefly collaborated with Stock Aitken Waterman, the production trio behind hits like Never Gonna Give You Up. At the time, Stock Aitken Waterman were at the peak of their chart-dominating powers, churning out neon-bright dance pop for teenagers. Judas Priest, meanwhile, were known for leather, chains, and thunderous metal anthems. The resulting track, You Are Everything, felt like two worlds trying and spectacularly failing to find common ground. Glossy production drowned out the band's signature heaviness. Rob Halford's soaring vocals, usually razor-sharp and menacing, were boxed into radio-friendly melodies. It was like watching a caged lion trying to perform at a children's birthday party. Both sides seemed to recognize it was a mismatch. Still, it remains a fascinating anomaly, an actual moment in rock history that feels more like a bizarre what-if than something that truly happened. Speaking of unexpected moments, here's one that took rock to new extremes. Number 4. Sex Pistols and Ronnie Biggs. No One's Innocent, 1978. By 1978, the Sex Pistols frontman Johnny Rotten was gone, but manager Malcolm McLaren wasn't finished stirring chaos. His next idea? Team up the remaining Pistols with one of the most notorious criminals in British history, Ronnie Biggs, the mastermind behind the Great Train Robbery of 1963, who was then hiding out in Brazil, thumbing his nose at British authorities. The result was No One Is Innocent, a defiant anthem sneering at society's hypocrisy. Recorded in Rio de Janeiro, Biggs' gruff voice trades verses with the Pistols, gleefully listing politicians, judges, and even themselves among the corrupt and guilty. It was anarchic, vulgar, and designed to enrage people, and it worked. Even die-hard punk fans were divided. Some hailed it as the ultimate middle finger to the establishment. Others thought it crossed a line too far. But in true Sex Pistols fashion, crossing the line was the whole point. Would punk have been punk without moments like this? Doubtful. Now let's take a step back to something even more iconic in rock history. Number 5. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, George Harrison and Eric Clapton, 1968.
Still my guitar gently weeps.
Inside the walls of Abbey Road Studios, the Beatles were fracturing. George Harrison, often overshadowed by Lennon and McCartney, brought a new song to the table, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. But he felt the band wasn't giving it the respect it deserved, so George quietly called in reinforcements, his close friend and guitar legend Eric Clapton. The Beatles had never featured an outside musician on their recordings before. It was almost unthinkable. But when Clapton laid down his weeping, aching guitar solo, everything changed. The energy in the room shifted. Suddenly the band locked in and gave George's masterpiece the weight and gravity it needed. Clapton's contribution was kept secret at first. There was no official credit on the album, but real fans knew. And today, the solo stands as one of the most beautiful, emotional moments in Beatles history. From one monumental collaboration to another. Number 6. Badge. Cream, Eric Clapton and George Harrison, 1969.
And I'm thinking of the love that you laid on my table.
Just months later, Clapton and Harrison crossed paths again, this time under a different banner. Clapton's band, Cream, was nearing its explosive end, but they had one more album to finish, Goodbye. During a drunken brainstorming session, Harrison, credited under the pseudonym Leangelo Misterioso, to dodge contractual headaches, co-wrote Badge with Clapton. The name was a hilarious misreading of Harrison's handwritten note that actually said Bridge, with Harrison's guitar textures weaving through Clapton's bluesy leads. Badge became one of Cream's most distinctive songs, melancholic, swirling, and bittersweet, just like the band's imminent breakup. It was a farewell letter written by two friends who, in their own tangled ways, were each trying to find a path in the music world they'd helped create. We're about to dive into a collaboration that captures raw emotion and real struggle. Number 7. Cold Turkey. Plastic Ono Band. John Lennon and Eric Clapton, 1969.
It's got me on the run.
When John Lennon decided to capture the agony of heroin withdrawal in a song, he didn't sugarcoat it. Cold Turkey wasn't abstract or poetic. It was raw, physical pain, set to music. To bring it to life, Lennon needed a band that could bleed with him on stage. He called in Eric Clapton, bassist Klaus Voormann, and drummer Ringo Starr, and together they unleashed a howl of desperation that sounded like nothing else at the time. The guitars screeched, the bass thudded, Lennon's vocals spiraled between anguish and near madness. When Lennon tried to get the Beatles to record the song, they refused. So he went solo, and in doing so cracked open the polished veneer of late 60s rock, letting all the raw darkness pour out. And now a collaboration between two icons that broke boundaries in rock and pop. Number 8. Under Pressure. Queen and David Bowie, 1981.
Under pressure.
Imagine two of the biggest forces in rock music, Queen and David Bowie, holed up in a Swiss recording studio. Originally, they gathered just to jam. No pressure, no expectations. But what started as casual experimentation erupted into one of the most iconic duets of all time. They hammered away for hours, jamming, arguing, rewriting. Freddie Mercury's powerhouse vocals collided with Bowie's haunting, urgent delivery. John Deacon crafted that unforgettable bass line almost by accident. The result? Under Pressure, a song that still feels like a desperate cry for humanity decades later. And here's the craziest part. There was no master plan, just pure, chaotic, spontaneous magic between musical giants, captured forever. Let's now shift gears to another unexpected pairing that left a huge mark on the rock world. Number 9, Stop Draggin' My Heart Around, Stevie Nicks and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, 1981. When Stevie Nicks broke out solo from Fleetwood Mac, she wanted more than just a hit. She wanted something real. Initially, Nicks begged Tom Petty to let her join the Heartbreakers full-time. He declined, but offered something better. A song. Stop Draggin' My Heart Around wasn't written for Stevie originally. But when producer Jimmy Iovine heard her voice wrapped around Petty's gritty delivery, he knew they had something extraordinary. The final recording isn't a polished duet. It's two battle-scarred lovers spitting their hearts out across a tattered line, bruised and beautiful. You can hear the chemistry crackling through every word. And honestly, can you imagine this song without Stevie and Tom facing off? But let's take that chemistry to a completely different level. Number 10, Almost Paradise, Mike Reno, Loverboy, and Ann Wilson, Heart, 1984.
Oh, almost paradise when I get on.
For the film's big love theme, producers didn't just want a ballad, they wanted a powerhouse moment. So they paired Mike Reno, the arena-shaking voice of Loverboy, with Ann Wilson, the thunderstorm vocalist from Heart. On a normal day, it shouldn't have worked. I mean, imagine two stadium rockers crooning over a syrupy love song. And yet, it worked flawlessly. Almost Paradise became a soaring emotional anthem, perfectly capturing the fragile euphoria of teenage love and rebellion. Their voices melt into each other, blending strength with vulnerability, defiance with tenderness. Now let's switch gears to something a little more chaotic. Number 11, Dancing in the Street, David Bowie and Mick Jagger, 1985.
Dancing in the street.
Two legends, one song. One of the wildest, most chaotic, most gloriously unhinged music videos ever made. David Bowie and Mick Jagger decided almost on a whim to record a cover of Dancing in the Street for the Live Aid charity. The whole thing came together in less than 24 hours. The energy was absolutely bonkers. They didn't rehearse much. They didn't overthink it. They just threw themselves into the madness, strutting, leaping, shouting into each other's faces like two teenage punks set loose in an abandoned warehouse. The world couldn't look away. Sure, many fans hated it and thought it was cheesy. To be honest, we understand why. But at its core, it was pure, joyous rock and roll mayhem. Two of music's greatest icons cutting loose for a good cause. Speaking of unlikely collaborations, let's talk about something truly legendary. Number 12, Handle with Care, 1988. Traveling Wilburys, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, Roy Orbison, Tom Petty, and Bob Dylan.
Being beat up and battered around, being sent up.
In 1988, some of the most iconic names in rock came together to form the Traveling Wilburys, a supergroup unlike any other. George Harrison of the Beatles, Jeff Lynne of ELO, Roy Orbison, Tom Petty, and Bob Dylan all collaborated on what would become one of the most legendary rock moments in history, Handle with Care. This supergroup was a collision of musical giants who had shaped the sound of rock for decades. Each member brought their own unique flair, but the chemistry between them was palpable. Harrison's soulful vocals, Orbison's heart-wrenching tone, Petty's gritty rock energy, Dylan's unmistakable voice, and Lynne's polished production style merged into a perfect storm. Handle with Care was a breath of fresh air for rock, and it's easy to hear why. The song is loaded with emotional depth, catchy hooks, and killer guitar riffs that made it an instant classic. What makes this collaboration even more fascinating is that it wasn't some high-profile corporate concoction. It came together organically. After Harrison finished recording Cloud 9, and during downtime between other projects, they decided to jam. The song was a huge success, climbing the charts and even earning critical acclaim. But even more remarkable than the track itself is the way it brought together different worlds of music. The mix of pop, rock, and a bit of blues was the kind of sound that only a group like the Traveling Wilburys could pull off. And the synergy between the members made Handle with Care feel like an instant classic. To this day, this collaboration is one of a kind, and proof that sometimes the best music happens when you least expect it. Rock history is full of wild surprises, but these collaborations prove that sometimes the most unexpected pairings create the most unforgettable music. Which unlikely rock collaboration do you think was the most legendary, or the most unbelievable? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe and tap on the bell for more.